The galaxy had always been a place of chaos, trade, and violence. From the glittering spires of Helion Prime to the lawless asteroid belts of the Rim, no one truly controlled the stars. Mercenaries roamed freely, taking jobs for the highest bidder. Some were killers, some thieves, some explorers, but all of them knew the rules. Every target had a price. Every job had a risk. Except one. Humans. Among the countless species scattered across the stars, humans were strange. They were young, unassuming, and often underestimated. To most alien mercenaries, they looked weak, but in whispers, across taverns on distant moons, and in the communication channels of warlords, a single warning spread like wildfire. Do not take jobs against humans. Some laughed. Some ignored it. Others listened and lived. Those who did not vanished. Entire mercenary crews, hired to attack small human colonies, simply disappeared without a trace. No debris. No transmissions. No bodies. Just empty space where they once were. The Outer Rim was where these stories circulated most vividly. Out there, beyond the regulated sectors, in the forgotten zones of the galaxy, fear had a sharper edge. And for one human colony, tucked between the black void and the glowing remnants of a dying star, the whispers were about to become reality. The colony. On the surface of Viridian 4, a small human mining colony worked quietly. Its population was barely 3,000, mostly miners and their families. The colony's main job was to extract tritanium, a rare crystal prized across multiple systems for ship armor and energy cores. The work was hard, but humans had a resilience unmatched in the galaxy. Among the miners and engineers, there was talk of strange sightings in the dark tunnels, shadows that moved too quickly, equipment that seemed untouched yet repaired. No one worried too much. They called it phantom luck. But outside the colony, the galaxy's criminal network had already noticed Viridian 4's wealth. The warlord Gorthak the Tyrant, a brute from the Narak system, wanted the tritanium for himself. His plan was simple. Hire the best mercenaries in the galaxy to wipe out the humans, take their stock, and leave no survivors. He didn't know humans weren't so easily conquered. The mercenaries. Gorthak sent out a call to the mercenary guilds. Ships of all sizes answered, from sleek scouts to massive dreadnoughts. Among them, the Jakari Raiders were the most feared, a band of ruthless, genetically enhanced fighters. They had no loyalty but money, and the price Gorthak offered was enough to tempt even them. However, when they received the full details of the target, their confidence faltered. Humans? Hissed Vark, the Jakari captain, a scaled alien with jagged teeth. Why would anyone hire us to fight them? Humans are small, replied his first officer. They cannot be a problem. Vark shook his head. He remembered the stories, mercenaries who had tried and failed. Small? Maybe. But dangerous. They vanish crews, ships, entire fleets. No one knows how. No one. The officer snorted. Stories. My ancestors fought humans before. They are strong, yes, but stories grow in the telling. Vark narrowed his eyes. I'm not willing to find out the hard way. Despite their hesitation, the Jakari Raiders decided to approach Gorthak cautiously. They needed confirmation. When they docked near his asteroid base, the scene that greeted them made them pause. Gorthak's warning. Gorthak's throne room was enormous, carved from black stone and glowing with eerie green lights. His massive, horned frame filled the doorway. Around him were hollow screens showing ships, colonies, and battlefields. On one screen, a human colony flickered in the dim light of a distant star. Are you the Jakari Raiders? Gorthak's voice was a growl that made the walls vibrate. Yes, Vark said cautiously. You are to destroy that colony, Gorthak said, pointing to the flickering image. Kill everyone, Take the tritanium. Leave nothing behind. Vark hesitated. And if we fail? Gorthak's eyes narrowed. Then your lives will belong to me. The raiders left the throne room, confused and tense. They had expected a large fight, but the human colony looked insignificant. Just a few lights on a rocky surface. How dangerous could it be? Thanks for watching, and then makes to see. The galaxy, however, had already given its answer. First signs of the phantoms. Meanwhile, deep in the shadows of space, a human ship drifted quietly near Viridian 4. Its design was unremarkable. A cargo frigate converted into a stealth craft. But inside, it was anything but ordinary. Captain Mira Dane and her squad, known as the Phantoms, prepared for action. They were the galaxy's secret guardians. Human special forces operating far beyond the authority of any government. Their mission: protect humanity wherever it was threatened, silently and efficiently. Mira's crew was exceptional. Every soldier was trained for infiltration, sabotage, and combat at levels other species could barely imagine. Their movements were coordinated through a neural link that allowed them to act as one entity. To the galaxy, they were ghosts. Targets locked, said Lieutenant Rafe, his voice calm over the comm link. Remember the rule, Mira replied. Strike clean, leave no trace, and avoid unnecessary casualties. Humans are strong, but we do not start wars. We finish threats. The Phantoms had already infiltrated the region, observing Gorthak's incoming mercenaries. Their cloaking devices rendered them invisible to scanners, their ships silent as drifting asteroids. From their vantage point, they could watch every move without being seen. And they would need every advantage. The first contact. Back on the Jakari Raiders' ship, Vark stared at the radar. Something's wrong, he muttered. Ships were disappearing from his sensors one by one. At first, he thought it was a glitch. Then he noticed the debris fields. Mercenary ships, torn apart, floating silently with no crew aboard. No traces of attacks, said his officer. No weapons fire. Nothing. Vark's claws clenched. He remembered the stories. The warnings. Every mercenary who tried to attack humans ended up like this. We're not dealing with mere humans, he said. We're dealing with predators. The ship shuddered suddenly. A black insignia appeared on the main screen, a skull with wings. Unmistakable. It wasn't a threat. It was a message. The Phantoms were here. Panic rippled through the crew. Some muttered prayers. Others cursed their luck. The choice was simple: retreat or die. The human advantage. Mira's team observed the raiders. They did not fire. They did not attack. They simply prepared, moved, and waited for the right moment. Every Phantom had a specific task: disable the mercenary ship's engines, cut off communication, and leave them trapped without bloodshed. It was not cruelty. It was efficiency. Deploy the drones, Mira whispered. Tiny surveillance drones swarmed around the raiders' ship, mapping every corridor, every weapon system. Within minutes, the human crew knew the exact positions of every alien soldier. Then, without warning, the ship's engines powered down. Lights flickered. Communications died. The raiders' ship drifted silently, unable to maneuver. Every attempt to restart systems failed. Vark realized the truth. Humans were not to be underestimated. They were everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Shadows that moved with purpose. And now, they had complete control. The warning spread. As the raiders struggled, the galaxy began to notice. Mercenary channels lit up with rumors. The humans are here. Don't take contracts against them. Ships disappear in seconds. Crews vanish. Nothing explains it. If humans are involved, turn around. Even seasoned mercenaries with decades of experience refused jobs targeting humans. The stories spread faster than any propaganda. Fear became the currency of survival. The galaxy had begun to whisper of humans. Mercenary guilds were no longer reckless. Even the most hardened criminals avoided contracts involving human colonies. Entire warlords, once bold enough to threaten entire systems, paused when they received news. The Phantoms were watching. And Captain Mira Dane and her squad were about to show why. Preparation for action. In the depths of a cloaked human frigate, Mira gathered her team. Each Phantom was a master of their craft soldiers who could operate in zero gravity, hack alien systems, and strike silently with deadly precision. Today, Mira said, her voice calm but firm, we remind the galaxy why no one targets humans. Gorthak believes he can threaten Viridian 4. And the Rim colonies. He's wrong. Lieutenant Rafe, her second in command, checked the squad's neural link devices. All systems green. Squad is ready. Mira nodded. Good. Remember our doctrine. Strike once, strike clean, be unseen. No unnecessary casualties. Efficiency is our weapon. Precision is our shield. The squad moved silently through the frigate, their movements coordinated like a single organism. Each soldier was assigned a target. Disabling enemy communications, sabotaging ships, infiltrating command hubs. Their tools were simple but advanced. Grappling hooks, magnetic boots, neural disruptors, stealth fields. Outside, the void of space was dark and cold. The Raiders' fleet. A small squad of battlecruisers moved toward Viridian 4. They were unaware of the danger that already shadowed their every step. The first strike. Without warning, the Phantoms moved. Small drones launched from the frigate, darting like insects toward the Raiders' ships. They infiltrated vents, plugged into communication arrays, and transmitted false orders. Systems glitched. Alarms sounded, but no one could locate the source. Vark, captain of the Raiders, scowled. What is this? A trick? His officer shook his head. It's impossible. Our ships are secure. Vark's claws twitched. Impossible is a human word. Within minutes, the first strike had incapacitated half the fleet. Engines shut down. Weapons became inoperable. Communication arrays went dark. The Raiders were trapped adrift in space, unable to warn Gorthak of the humans' arrival. From her hidden frigate, Mira watched the chaos unfold. Phase 1 complete, she said. Now, the cleanup begins. Infiltration. Meanwhile, 2 Phantoms, Sora and Kian, boarded the largest Raider ship. Using magnetic boots and neural cloaks, they slipped through airlocks, avoiding sensors that were supposed to detect intruders. The ship was silent, except for distant alarms and the occasional panicked call from crew members. Sora whispered through the comm link, "Targets located. Weapons offline. Command hub in sight." Kian nodded. "We proceed." They moved like shadows, striking only when necessary. A door panel was sliced open. Inside, the command room was filled with alien officers, scrambling to regain control. Sora and Kian didn't hesitate. They disabled every system with neural disruptors, leaving the crew alive but powerless. No one needed to die. Fear was already enough. Alien panic. Back on Viridian 4, reports came in from the colony's observation posts. Raiders' ships have stopped. Systems offline. They're drifting. The colonists were confused. They did not understand how such powerful ships had been neutralized without a single explosion or direct attack. The news spread across the galaxy's communication networks. Other mercenaries, watching from afar, grew pale. If the Phantoms could disable battlecruisers without even entering combat, what would happen to anyone who dared to attack a human colony directly? The legend of the Phantoms was no longer rumor. The pre-emptive strike. Captain Mira had no intention of waiting for the Raiders to recover. The true target was Gorthak himself. Intelligence showed him aboard a command asteroid near the mining colony, overseeing the operation. Phase 2, Mira said. We hit the nerve center. If he falls, his fleet is finished. The Phantoms approached the asteroid in small pods, each equipped with silent thrusters. They moved like tiny meteors, unseen by any sensors. Once inside, they split into teams. Team A would disable external defense turrets. Team B would infiltrate the command center. Team C would prepare extraction points and secure hostages, if necessary. The operation was synchronized down to the millisecond. Every Phantom knew their role, their movement, and their target. Precision in action. Team A moved first. They crawled along the asteroid's surface, using magnetic grips to cling to metal hulls. Within moments, turrets were rendered useless. Explosions were unnecessary. Systems simply stopped. Inside, Team B slipped through corridors, using vents and shadows to reach the command center. Security officers tried to respond, but every door closed before they could react. Neural disruptors silenced communications. Gorthak's personal guards were neutralized, alive but immobilized. Finally, Mira herself entered the command room. She didn't draw weapons. She simply stood at the doorway, her presence enough to halt everyone. Gorthak, she said. Calm. Clear. You cannot threaten humans. Step aside, and you live. Resist, and the galaxy will remember your name, only as a warning. The warlord laughed, a deep rumble that echoed through the room. You are human. Mira's eyes narrowed. We do not rely on tricks. We rely on precision, observation, discipline. You've already lost. Gorthak's confidence faltered as he realized the truth. His systems had been disabled. His fleet was drifting. His crew was powerless. And the humans had not yet fully revealed their strength. A message sent. After ensuring Gorthak posed no immediate threat, the Phantoms left a message, a warning for the galaxy. It was simple. A holographic emblem appeared in the asteroid's command chamber. A black skull with wings, identical to the insignia seen in drifting mercenary wrecks. Below it, a single line flashed in multiple alien languages. Do not provoke the humans. They do not start wars. They finish threats. The message spread quickly, intercepted by countless mercenary and criminal networks. Fear rippled like a shockwave. Even hardened pirates hesitated before accepting contracts involving humans. Stories of vanished ships became fact. The galaxy began to change. The aftermath. With Gorthak's fleet incapacitated and his command base neutralized, the Phantoms returned to Viridian 4. The colony remained untouched. Life continued as usual, unaware of the silent battle fought for their survival. Captain Mira Dane looked out from the frigate's viewport. Stars stretched endlessly across the void, glittering like jewels. She reflected on the balance they maintained. Humans were powerful, but they did not seek war. Their strength lay not only in their weapons, but in their restraint. Every action has a consequence, she said to her squad. Let the galaxy understand that consequences are swift, precise, and inescapable. The Phantoms prepared to leave. But even in the calm, Mira knew new threats would emerge. The galaxy was vast, and not every warlord would learn quickly. The legend grows. By the time the news reached other systems, the effect was immediate. Mercenaries refused contracts, colonies strengthened their defenses, and alien species studied human tactics not to fight them, but to avoid conflict entirely. The Phantoms had achieved more than a simple victory. They had established a reputation that would ripple across generations. Humans were no longer just another species. They were a force that demanded respect. And in the darkness of space, hidden from all sensors, the Phantoms watched. Silent, unseen, ready for the next threat. Captain Mira Dane whispered to herself, "Let them remember us. Let them fear the shadows. For we are human, and we protect our own. The galaxy had learned a simple truth. Never target humans. The galaxy had changed. Once, humans were underestimated, young, fragile, and seen as just another species. Now, they were feared. Stories of vanished mercenaries, crippled fleets, and invisible human squads spread across star systems. The name Phantoms whispered through space like a warning. Never threaten humans. But fear alone did not guarantee peace. The galaxy was vast, and ambition never rested. A galaxy quieted. In the weeks following the raid on Gorthak's fleet, systems across the rim adjusted. Mercenary guilds refused contracts involving humans. Even trade disputes and resource conflicts were approached with caution when humans were involved. Colonies once vulnerable to pirates now had peace without firing a shot. The mere reputation of the Phantoms acted as a shield. On the bridge of a transport station near Helion Prime, an alien captain addressed his crew. "We were ordered to raid a human supply convoy," he said. His hands trembled slightly. "We've reconsidered. We cannot risk the humans. They're warriors. We've heard the stories." A young officer asked nervously, "Are they that strong?" The captain swallowed hard. "We do not know. But the fact that an entire mercenary fleet was neutralized without one human casualty says enough. Leave them alone." Number 4. Number 4. Number 4. Across the galaxy, similar conversations were happening. Humanity's silent power reshaped strategy, trade, and diplomacy, not through conquest, but through respect. The Phantom Doctrine grows. Back on Viridian 4, Captain Mira Dane convened with her squad. The operation against Gorthak was a success, but they knew the galaxy would test human patience again. "Our message worked," Mira said, her voice calm but firm. "Fear spreads faster than fleets, but it must be coupled with discipline. Humans do not strike first. We act only when necessary." "Lieutenant," Rafe nodded, "we have established control through reputation, not domination. That is what makes us different." Other members of the squad added their observations. Humans were no longer just survivors, they were the standard. Alien species began studying human tactics. They copied stealth methods, trained more cautiously, and avoided confrontation when possible. The Phantoms understood that the galaxy could respect strength without needing war. Their actions were not about glory. They were about maintaining balance. A new threat emerges. Yet, not all alien factions were cautious. In the darkness beyond regulated space, a mysterious species, the Zerathians, began experiments with human-like stealth technology. They sought to replicate the Phantom's abilities, hoping to challenge human dominance without understanding the discipline behind it. On a distant observation post, human intelligence detected the activity. "They're trying to imitate us," reported Scout Vela, her voice tight with concern. "But they lack training, coordination. They don't understand what it takes to be a Phantom." Mira's eyes narrowed. "Then it's our responsibility to remind them. Humans are not defined by technology alone. We define ourselves by strategy, discipline, and precision. If they try to misuse what they mimic, they will fail, and the galaxy will know why." The shadow operates again. The Phantoms prepared for a new mission: intercept the rogue Zerathian faction before they could harm any human colony. Unlike before, this operation required subtlety. They could not simply intimidate, they had to act preemptively, dismantling the threat before it became real. Pods carrying small Phantom squads launched from hidden human frigates. Magnetic grips, neural disruptors, and stealth suits allowed them to infiltrate enemy vessels silently. Sora and Kian, veterans from the previous mission, led the strike teams. "Remember," Sora whispered, "we are human, and humans do not start wars. We finish threats. Precision saves lives." The Zerathians had no idea the Phantoms were coming. Their fleet, confident in stolen human-style tech, believed themselves untouchable. Infiltration and discovery. Inside the largest Zarathian vessel, the Phantoms moved like shadows. The alien crew operated under the assumption that their technology gave them an advantage. They were wrong. Sora and Kian split off to disable the control core, while other teams cut communication lines and neutralized power sources. Every move was surgical. No unnecessary harm. The aliens watched as systems failed around them, lights flickering, engines shutting down, alarms blaring, but they could not locate the source. The Phantoms reached the command center. Unlike Gorthak, these aliens were unyielding. They tried to resist, to fight, but the Phantoms had already calculated every possibility. Each guard was neutralized without fatality. Mira entered last, calm and authoritative. "Your arrogance is misplaced," she said. "You attempt to mimic what you do not understand. Humans protect their own. You threaten no one here." The Zarathian leader, tall and luminescent, growled. "You are human. You cannot stop progress." Mira's gaze was steady. "We are more than technology. We are discipline, strategy, and unity. You will not endanger the galaxy because you misunderstand what it means to be human." A clear warning. After disabling the Zarathians' operations, the Phantoms left a single message like before. A holographic emblem projected in the center of the Zarathian ship. The black skull with wings. A message appeared in multiple alien languages. "Mimic us if you wish. But understand this. Humans do not start wars. We finish threats." The effect was immediate. Even aliens who had observed from afar began to rethink their strategy. Humans were not just physically strong. They were organized, disciplined, and deadly when necessary. For the first time, an alien fleet abandoned a planned operation, not because of firepower, but because of fear. Calculated, measured fear. Human colonies in safety. Back in human-controlled space, colonies like Viridion 4 continued to thrive. Mining operations resumed. Families lived without worry. Markets opened. Life went on. Yet, the shadow of the Phantoms was always present. Alien eyes watched. Fearful, respecting boundaries without needing to be told again. Humans' reputation was now their shield, a combination of skill, strategy, and silent intimidation. Mira reflected on the balance they had achieved. "We do not conquer," she told her squad. "We protect. Strength is not for war, it is for survival and deterrence. That is what makes humans legendary." Diplomatic advantage. Human diplomats quietly leveraged the galaxy's fear of the Phantoms. Trade agreements, peace negotiations, and disputes were resolved with minimal force. The mere knowledge that humans had a hidden force capable of dismantling fleets without casualties gave them leverage beyond their numbers. Gorthak's experience became the standard lesson for every ambitious warlord or mercenary leader. Underestimate humans, and pay the price. Stories of ships vanishing and fleets being neutralized spread faster than any propaganda campaign. Even powerful councils of alien leaders began to treat humans with respect. Fear was tempered by caution. Humans became a stabilizing factor in many regions of the galaxy, not through domination, but through silent power and discipline. Final operation: balance of power. Mira received intelligence of a minor human colony facing potential attack from a rogue faction imitating Phantom technology. She understood that visible action would serve as both protection and a reminder to the galaxy. The Phantoms deployed in coordinated pods. This time, they showcased restraint. They intercepted the rogue faction, exposed illegal technology experiments, and neutralized threats without a single human casualty. The demonstration had an undeniable effect. Alien species witnessed the combination of strength, strategy, and restraint. Humans did not need to destroy to protect. Their presence alone enforced order. Mira's final report was simple. We do not conquer. We protect. We do not start wars. We finish threats. Legacy of the Phantoms. By the time the mission ended, the galaxy had learned a critical lesson. Humans were no longer just another species to underestimate. They were legends in the making. Mercenaries refused jobs involving human targets. Colonies strengthened defenses. Alien leaders revised strategies. Human special forces, the Phantoms, had shown the galaxy that discipline and precision could achieve what brute force never could. Captain Mira Dane watched from the frigate's bridge, the stars stretching endlessly before her. Somewhere out there, fleets plotted. Somewhere out there, ambitious leaders tested boundaries. But the galaxy had learned. Humans were a force that could not be ignored, not through weapons alone, but through intelligence, coordination, and unshakable resolve. Mira whispered to herself, "Let them remember. Let them fear the shadows. We are human, and we protect our own." Across the galaxy, alien mercenaries repeated the same cautionary words. Never target humans. The name Phantoms had become a legend, and the galaxy, for the first time, understood the true power of humanity.